I eat a jelly donut every day before work or have like a giant frappuccino. I just need a glass of wine to calm down at night. Things like smoking and pot use. 'Tis the season for holiday sweets and alcoholic drinks. And that's why I'm sharing all about mold and candida. Hi, I'm Dr. Sparks, and I'm here to talk about mold and candida and a body out of balance that can happen pretty easily when you're eating too much sugar. So let's get into it. 'Tis the season for candida overgrowth. This is because candida thrives on those holiday sweets and alcoholic drinks. Candida yeast are single-celled fungi that are normal flora in the human body, but they're also called opportunistic. This means that when the opportunity for yeast to flourish happens, they grow out of balance and begin causing symptoms. Reasons for candida overgrowth include things like antibiotic use, eating a diet high in carbohydrates or fermented foods, hot weather with humidity that causes skin folds to hold moisture and become breeding grounds, or mold exposure from a water-damaged building that depletes the immune system and triggers illness. Yes, mold can go hand in hand with candida. Mold is a multicellular fungus that doesn't belong in our body. Mold grows in damp conditions, and it uses spores to reproduce. These spores are not visible to the human eye. They are 0.1 microns, and there can be as many as 1 million spores and 500 million spore fragments in a 1-inch square of water-damaged building. These mold spores can get into our respiratory tract and cause allergies, asthma, and colonization of the sinuses. But mold also produces mycotoxins. These are chemicals that are created by some molds to fight off other molds and bacteria from eating their food. These mycotoxins are 100 times smaller, 0.001 microns. They're smaller than mold spores. Imagine how many there can be in a square inch and how easily they can get into the body due to their small size. The main thing mycotoxins have in common is immune dysregulation. This is important because when the immune system is dysregulated or suppressed, all pathogens can flourish. Latent viruses like EBV, Epstein-Barr virus, opportunistic gut flora like strep or staph, and candida can all grow out of control when the immune system is not efficient enough to keep those pathogens in check. Let me be clear and state that one will not always have candida overgrowth when exposed to mold and mycotoxins, but it can happen. Thus, it's important to work with a mold-literate practitioner who can do a thorough intake and proper testing to see what's going on with you. You can have candida overgrowth without mold being present. While they can go hand in hand, both can grow without the other one being present. The most important thing to recognize, though, is that both candida and mold exposure contribute to the total fungal burden of the body. Thus, when both are occurring, both must be addressed for the person to get and stay healthy. Mold can cause candida, but not vice versa. Mold exposure is more likely to exacerbate candida because candida is already present in the body. Candida cannot cause a mold infection without mold also being present. Mold always comes from something outside the body, whether it be food, drink, or air. That being said, candida can cause a mycotoxin to be produced inside the body called gliotoxin. It is known for its immunosuppressive properties and neurological impacts. Gliotoxin can also be produced by some molds. Thus, if your doctor runs a mycotoxin test, and you only have gliotoxin present, rather than assuming you have a mold exposure, it would also be smart to run a Candida IgG and IgM, a urinary organic acids test called an OAT, or my favorite, a GI effect stool test by Mosaic Labs, to see if there's an overgrowth of Candida. You will most commonly see Candida issues present in the gut, skin folds, and the vagina. Mold patients and Candida. Most of my mold patients present with fatigue as their main symptom. Other common symptoms include brain fog, skin issues, anxiety, insomnia, weakness, anger, weight gain, hormonal issues, reoccurring colds and flus, and sinus congestion. Sometimes I have patients who only have gut issues, and we start there, not knowing that mold is a true culprit. I had a woman come to me with gas and bloating as her main issues. She had irregular bowel movements, but her bloating was painful and it made it look like she was 6 months pregnant. We did a comprehensive stool test that revealed dysbiosis, inflammation, and some opportunistic overgrowth of Candida. So we started there. We changed her diet for 60 days to a Candida diet and used antifungal supplements to work on Candida while also working on elimination. Her bloating was significantly better after one round, but not gone completely. She reported that her gas was also smelly. So I did a small intestine bacterial overgrowth, SIBO, breath test to see if there was anything there. She did have overgrowth of methane-producing bacteria in her small intestine. The next round, we decreased antifungals and increased antibacterials because of the SIBO. I stopped the probiotics for this course and added herbs to address her SIBO. This round, she did more of a low FODMAP diet with the protocol. She reported back that her gas and bloating were gone after one round of this protocol. A few months later, she returned with gas and bloating again. She started eating more sugars and simple carbohydrates that could have been causing Candida overgrowth. She also had a round of antibiotics from an upper respiratory infection from another doctor. This time, I went back to the Candida protocol without retesting to see if that was the cause. It got better. About 4 months later, she was back. At this time, I had finished my mold certification class and decided to run a urine mycotoxin test on her. She had a few mycotoxins, including gliotoxin, ochratoxin, and trichothezines. I gave her information on how to find a qualified mold inspector, and we switched gears to addressing the mold. I knew at this point, in order to fully tackle her recurrent Candida and gut issues, we were going to have to address the mold as the main cause. Mold, the great disruptor. Mold is more complex because it can be the underlying cause for so many other issues, and many practitioners are not trained to find or treat it. Other doctors simply don't believe that it is even a medical problem. When I started practicing, I didn't know what I know now about mold. When my patient had recurrent GI issues, I didn't know that mold could be a trigger. But as more and more people came to me with things that didn't fully resolve after a good time, I opened my eyes and learned more. I think that's all we can ask from any practitioner. Treating mold successfully takes time. It's a stepwise process that shouldn't be done all at one time. I have many folks who come to me from other practitioners who gave them binders when they told them they found mold in their home. But that was it. Let me tell you, binders are a very small piece of the mold puzzle, and they can be harmful if used too long or incorrectly. Now that I've been working with patients for a while, I urge patients to start with the 6-month mold VIP program. The reason is that it typically takes at least 6 months to make a dent on the health of a truly mold sick person. I start with fundamentals. All naturopathic doctors should do this. Fundamentals include diet, lifestyle, basic supplementation, and comprehensive lab testing. Testing for mold and Candida. If patients can afford out-of-pocket tests, I usually start with Vibrant America's urine mycotoxin test. It is done with mass spectrometry. Another good option is my Mycolab's mycotoxin antibody testing. If a patient can't afford functional testing, then we can do blood work that includes basics and tests like mold IgE, Candida IgM and IgG, C4A, TGF-beta, MMP9. There's also immune cell called eosinophils that are usually high when parasites and allergies are high, but they can also be high when mold is present. The blood tests are not diagnostic for mold, but can give us a puzzle piece to put the picture together. My treatment philosophy. As a vitalistic naturopathic doctor and Chinese medicine practitioner, I have a firm belief that the body can usually heal itself if we give it what it needs and take away the obstacles to cure. And if a patient has the energy to heal it, then we can heal. Again, this can be a stepwise process when it comes to mold and Candida. We are not simply looking to suppress symptoms. I explain it to patients this way. Imagine your body is a house and you have a fire on the stove, and the smoke alarm goes off, and the fire department comes and turns off the smoke alarm, but doesn't put out the fire. Now the fire can grow and move to other rooms, and more smoke alarms, which are like symptoms, go off. So if we keep taking things to suppress the symptoms, which are the alarms, then you're not actually turning off the fire and looking for the root cause. Treatment is not just about antifungals and binders. It also includes things like diet, lifestyle, your body's ability to eliminate drainage at a cellular level, nourishing deficiencies, healing organ systems that are out of balance, balancing hormones, and addressing stress and traumas. You are not just one part like a thyroid or an intestine. You are an integrated whole, and you should be treated as such, whether it be mold, Candida, or both. Check the notes to watch the live I did on this topic and to read the article.